Classes in session, lights on the screen, old posts resurfacing, you know what I mean. Breadcrumb trails from back in the day, screenshots lined up, dates on replay. Scroll back years, line by line, what didn't hit then hits right on time. Side by side, yeah, we cross-check proof, pulling threads till we hit the root. Late nights, coffee cold, something clicks and your spine gets cold. Wait, hold up, look at that. Tell me how they missed the match. Welcome to Qschqql, buckle in tight. We decode drops in the middle of the night. 1 year, 4 year, Delta hits clean. When the dates line up, you know what I mean. We go deep, yeah, we don't play cool. Ask the questions they said don't pursue. From the first post to the final clue, yeah, welcome to Qschqql. Calendar flips, history bends, past meets present, connects again, screens lighting up. Yo, did you see that timestamp hits like destiny? Patterns stack, numbers talk, nothing random when you really look. Archive digging, frame by frame, different story when you know the game. Pause it, rewind, zoom it slow. Wait, that date was years ago. Now it's live, now it's real. That's the moment you feel the deal. Welcome to Qschqql, sharpen your mind, where coincidence falls every time. 1 year, 4 year, Delta hits clean when the drops align. It's electric, obscene, we don't memorize. We review, decode the past to see what's new. If you're chasing facts, not headlines too, yeah, welcome to Qschqql.
Welcome to Qschqql, everybody. We got some special friends with us today.
Connect the dots, watch it land, then explain it. Step by step, hand in hand, not told what to think, learn how to see. Truth don't rush, it reveals patiently. Welcome to Qschqql, truth seekers unite, where the past shows up right on time. From old drops to today's news, when it lines up, there's no excuse. Dig it deeper, break the rules. Curiosity is the only tool. Decode it all, don't just consume. Yeah, welcome to Qschqql. To Qschqql.
Let's go.
Yeah, sorry about that, Andrew. Didn't mean to put you on the spot. We got a whole crew of friends today.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate you for that lovely tune. That is just, it's catchy too, right? Am I right, Ron?
Yeah, makes you want to dance. Yeah, welcome all you Q-tards. Welcome to another Qschqql here on Monday, January 19th. It's Happy Popcorn Day and also MLK Jr. Day, also a holiday in the United States of America. Welcome to Qschqql, everybody. We got some friends, our FRENS with us in the house. Brian at the bottom right. We got Cappy and Aaron in the middle top. We got Andrew to the left. Melzie, the producer, at the bottom left. And I don't know where Kyle is. He's hiding somewhere. But anyway, welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Kyle's in the closet again.
He's in the closet.
Mel, let him out.
Come out of the closet, Kyle.
Help, I'm stuck.
Hey, it's good to see you guys. And I don't know if you know, Tim, but you and I kind of go back because we met in the chat rooms when we were on our way back from Phoenix. Well, on our way back from Phoenix meant coming to the East Coast. We went to the Gideon's Army Gathering up in Plymouth, right? Well, that's where we met Andrew for the first time. He actually walked 17 friggin' miles, ironically enough, to the event. ended up with like rashes for like days because of walking. And anyway, it was such a magical event, and the speakers and the people and just Gideon's, because Jerry Foley and Gideon's was where I saw my first daggone Juan interview way back in the day. Jennifer Eason, Prime, and they all got together and they did this Juan interview. So that was like the start of that whole course. So Andrew's an amazing fellow, an amazing patriot, and man, his knowledge on things is just crazy. It's just incredible.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. We're definitely gonna have some fun. Andrew, come on and say hi to the gang, brother. What's been happening in your life?
It's great to have this group together, and like Bill said, our connection, how far we go back. Kyle and I, with Tim and Matthew, we go back to probably about 3-4 years ago doing some Qschqql where I came on as guest commentator, and then kind of catching up with Kyle and Melzie a little bit more recently. And the crazy thing is, once we click together and we realize that we're on the same page spiritually, and then we are operating in the truth, we lock together permanently. Even if we're 1,000 or 5,000 miles away, we lock together. And it's one of the things I'm most excited about is when does the magnetism, there's a lot of patriots out there that are repelling one another, and they may be in it for themselves. When our magnetism flips and we start locking in together and we start snapping together. So I'm wondering what event will kind of be the catalyst or the polar change of our magnetism, where we all start snapping together. Because if you get 100 million people all snapping together on the truth, they're aligned spiritually with the Almighty and with our Savior, and then we stand on the truth and we all start snapping together. I think this is going to be very exciting. This is probably going to be the most exciting year in history. And then how do we explain this to our grandkids that we were alive when everything shifted from dark to light?
Well said, brother. Well said, and welcome back. Welcome back to Q.
Let's have a party. Let's party like it's 1999.
All right, let's hear from the gals. We got Erin. Erin's in the. Is she the? No, she's the co-pilot. There she is. Come on, say hi, Erin. How you doing today?
Hello,
sister?
everybody. Oh, I'm just tickled pink. I love all this. I love this so much. And Andrew, it's kind of funny because when we met him at the gathering, he taught our daughter quick chess or speed chess, rapid chess, whatever you guys all call it. But he was friends of our sailing family, the first sailing family that we met cruising back in 2013. So we were on a Facebook group page and met these people. And lo and behold, Andrew helped him deliver and knew him from when he was in Boca back in the day. I mean, it's just a small world how all these connections and God putting us all together. And like you said, Andrew, the magnetism. Love you, brother. Love you guys. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you too. This is awesome. I'm getting God chills already. Qschqql goosebumps. Melzie, our producer, how you doing, sister? How was your weekend, and how you feeling today? A brand new week 24 here on Qschqql Daily. What do you say?
Wow, 24. It's hard to believe. It's gone by, so fast. I'm excited to have our guests here today. We talked about it, and I think Brian might be in the background too.
Yeah, we got to get Brian on here.
Yep.
Awesome.
Here we go. Brian. Anyways, I think it'll be great. We're gonna, all patch it out together, and like Andrew said, the best part is us really coming together and meeting each other and having that heart feel connect. And Qschqql's been a big part of that for me. So I'm always in gratitude for what you do. And Brian too, what you guys do over there is amazing. People coming together and just sharing their ideas. And I think both of you, both channels have done that. So and Cappy and Aaron, all that you do for the community, you guys behind the scenes are warriors and just representing us. And Andrew, all the information you bring to, it's just amazing, like coming together.
We got Tippy Top Anons in the house.
There he is. He's in the closet still.
We're not letting them out today.
Keep the door shut.
welcome, Brian. I am Brian, and Brian and Jamie. How you doing today, sir? How was your weekend? How you feeling about where we are in this particular time in history, sir?
I'm stoked, brother. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna have some fun today, you guys. We've got a little clip from LT, and we know he had his show came out about 2 hours ago. He does a daily show. We got a little clip. The title today is "We Are With You." That is Delta today, by the way. That's the Q team saying we are with you, but also we can expand our thinking a little bit. We all here are with you. Here on Q School, Monday through Friday at 2:17 Eastern. Yes, this is week 24, but we've been doing this for over 5.5 years now. It's going to be an interesting day. We're going to go through some deltas, and we're going to probably go around the table here and just bring out things that that our beautiful Q-tard friends want to talk about. I know Brian's got the Q clock, a little bit of info there, maybe a little lead in to some of the digs he's been doing. Aaron Cappy are on top of the election stuff. I'm not sure what Andrew's got up his sleeve, but I know he's got a big bowl of popcorn ready to go on popcorn day. And of course, MelzieKaye, you've always got something beautiful to share with us. But Kyle, you got anything for us, brother? Before we hit the
I got shit, man. I'm fucking stuck in the closet. I can't believe it.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't we queue up LT and we know, and let's kick off the show with a little more description about what Q is all about and why we're all here, why we call ourselves Q-tards, and why autists are saving the world. We're going to figure that all out here right now with LT and we know.
Andrew, center stage again. Look at you. You look good, brother.
Yeah, it's a great day to be together, and we're going to cover a lot of great things. There's so much today, but first of all, Martin Luther King.
Yes, amen. All right, hit it.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, having a little trouble with the extra people that does the graphics. A little bit different, but sorry, I mean, put you on center stage there. But here we go. This should be the right one this time. All right, and we know
really what it's all about. Control.
This is the right time, right, Tim? 2350.
Yeah, it looks good to me. There's Chuck. He's in the deltas today too. Yeah.
Oh, Chucky Poo. There we go.
And enslaving us. For those that are still not keen on the Q board and what it all means and why it's important, well, it goes around the mainstream media. I'm going to show you some more of their finagling and conniving against Kristi Noem and others. Their lies actually make it to the left. The left need it. They need to feed off the lies so they can survive. Of course, we know the Q board was put together to go around the mainstream media, and we had a reminder from Anon 55. If Q is bad, Trump is bad. If Trump is good, Q is good. It's that simple. Q can't be a Mossad psyop unless Trump is in on it. That's why people want you to believe Operation Trust. Not just to make Q look bad, but to make Trump look bad using Q. That's a psyop. The same system that went after Trump went after Q. They are aligned through that alone because they have the same enemy. Anons don't just believe Q. We were given plenty of proofs, and Trump was involved in some of them. Plus, Trump and his team have been Q posting. It's in your face. The Q movement is about waking people up and getting them to research for themselves. That doesn't help the black hats at all. Neither does Trump targeting their money. It's up to you to decide if you think the Operation Trust narrative holds any weight. If you ask me, it doesn't. It doesn't line up. The mainstream media and big tech couldn't stop us. The only play they have left is to try and convince people Anons have tricked by a psyop. Believe Q or not, believe him or not, Anons are a threat to the system. That's been proven. Q's message alone was anti-New World Order, Nazi World Order, and pro-Christian. Plus, Q taught us how the game is played. Q forces to research by asking questions. The only thing that they have to use against us is time, because people are impatient. But as information comes out, things line up. That's how the future proves the past. Most people still don't understand that we're up against a worldwide network. If the cabal wanted to finish their plan, all they had to do was put Hillary Clinton in the White House. The country would have continued to sleepwalk over the edge. The cabal didn't even need Trump. Their plan was mapped out and working perfect. It also doesn't make any sense for the cabal to wake people up, just to turn around and try to trick them. They could just have kept the people asleep. The amount of people that are awake now makes it way harder for the cabal to implement their agenda. The last thing they want is people waking up. They didn't spend all these years hiding the truth from us, lying to us, distracting us, and dumbing us down to turn around and wake us up, push us towards the truth, and teach us their tactics. Anons aren't waiting to be saved or convincing people to do nothing. The same tactics of warfare that are used to destabilize countries are being used against the people. In war, you have to face your enemy on every battlefield that they're standing on. If enemy controls every major avenue of information, how do you fight them? You have to build a digital army, a network big enough to complete with government, the mainstream media. They have to compete against the government, mainstream media, Hollywood, and big tech. That's where Anons came into play. And even if it's taken a long time, things are moving in the direction Anons said they would. Anons would be anonymous people, folks. You have to make one move to get to the next move, one step at a time, brick by brick. And remember, we've been getting these comms like Trust the Plan from the Department of Labor.
Let's go!
Other things, since we're on that note, that I wanted to show you. Here. Let me go right here. Did you see this in the intro? This was an attempted murder on a guy, Jake Lang, I think is his name. Yep, Jake Lang. Dragged back into the crowd and stabbed. That's right. They didn't stop when he was down. They didn't walk away. They tried to kill him. This is what happens when politicians demonize law enforcement, excuse mob violence, and label Americans as the enemy for their beliefs. This wasn't a protest. This wasn't chaos. This was targeted political violence, and the silence from Democrat leaders is deafening. President Trump warned what would happen when mobs are empowered and the rule of law is abandoned. We are watching the consequences unfold in real time. If the state will not protect its citizens, the federal government must. Because when Americans are hunted in the streets for who they support, that is no longer politics. That is domestic terror. Stephen Miller said, if you are surprised to see such a large volume of a professional class leftist acting in psychotic fashion in response to routine immigration enforcement, remember the conduct of the same group during COVID. Masking babies, terrifying children, boycotting family, shuttering schools, purging dissenters, signaling their virtue to in-group peers
We're done with this
with
shit.
ever more extreme, painful, and draconian measures. These folks are sick, demented. The demon-possessed came out in droves. They're legion, they're many. And they hate it when they lose, and they pretend that they have the truth with them, but they're liars. And they belong to their father, the devil. Never forget that. In the midst of all of this, remember President Trump has been doing what? He's been out there talking about how the elder Bush was using the Insurrection Act. And he said, I think he used it 28 times, the Bush guy did, right? Remember, he uses numbers, and I always tell you, if he uses numbers like 28, 48, 58, whatever, just go look it up on the Qagg.news. President Trump wants to give us a history lesson when he says 28 times, says Ultra Magadine Erickson. So let's look at post number 28. Let's look at it. What must be completed? Actually, let's play President Trump first. For 28. You ready?
What are you waiting for? Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, the Insurrection Act also, if you look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, he used it, I think, 28 times.
28 times. 28 times he used it. So on that post, number 28,
Y'all have seen us do decodes like this before on that gaggle. He said 22 times. Y'all did the digging, and it actually, George W. only did it twice. Of course, we've covered Qschqql 22. Tim and I covered 28 many, many times over the years, but it looks like and we know is going to cover right here.
And Anon gives a history lesson. Anonymous person says, what must be completed to engage MI over other three-letter agencies? I would say that would be military intelligence. During the 1950s and 60s, federal troops and federalized National Guard forces, accompanied by military intelligence personnel, were deployed to help integrate Southern Schools 23 and to help deal with civil disorders in Detroit in 1967. And other cities the following year after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Throughout this period, military intelligence units also continued to collect data on Americans at home who were suspected of involvement in subversive activities. In the late 60s, the Pentagon compiled personal information on more than 100,000 politically active Americans in an effort to quell civil rights and anti-Vietnam War demonstrations and to discredit protesters. So the Army used 1,500 plainclothes agents to watch demonstrations, infiltrate organizations, and spread disinformation. According to one report, the Army had at least one observer at every demonstration of more than 20 people. The Army's activities were summed up by Senator Sam Ervin, allegedly for the purpose of predicting and preventing civil disturbances which might develop beyond the control of state and local officials. Army agents were sent throughout the country to keep surveillance over the way the civilian population expressed their sentiments about government policies. In churches, on campuses, in classrooms, and public meetings, they took notes, tape recorded, photographed people who dissented in thought, word, or deed, and including clergymen, editors, public officials, and anyone who sympathized with the dissenters. So Trump has had military intelligence infiltrate Antifa and all the dissenting local governments. Always 5 steps ahead. Please be true. Q replied, well done. Picture being painted. Be patient, patriots. I believe the Insurrection Act is coming, but President Trump has already infiltrated all those groups. Infiltration from within, and is 5 steps ahead of everybody. So,
Perfect.
make this make sense, Arthur McWater says. 85% of
All right.
That's perfect.
All right.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect timing, because what we're seeing unfold obviously in Minneapolis, and you got all these retards, crashing churches yesterday and all the shenanigans that's going on in the streets of Minneapolis and other parts of the country too. But just keep in mind, how do you corner a dangerous animal? Well, you track and trace them, right? They're all holding phones. All phones are trackable and traceable. How do you take down the entire beast? You do it by collecting all the data, information, photographs, and everything like that Qschqql 20 just said. But anyway, yeah, that was perfect. LT, and we know, make sure you watch them daily. Dave X22 reports another go-to for me, and there's a couple others. But what did you guys think of that, you guys? I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the whole fucking system being crashed down on top of their heads. The disease temple.
Yeah, I mean, he went over some of the things that we talked about too with the Department of Labor, I think, reposting Q posts. So that's really interesting, I think.
Yep, the last couple of weeks. Brian, your thoughts? Brian, can you hear us?
I got you. Let's keep going. I don't have any specific thing to add there.
All right, Andrew. Maybe we'll get Andrew's thoughts on what LT just that brief little section there. Obviously about the Q drops.
My most interesting dig resulted in realizing that Martin Luther King III met with President Trump 4 days before he actually became president in the first term, and that was at Trump Tower in New York City. So. Interesting invite that President Trump or President-elect Trump would invite MLK's son. I don't know if it's his son or his grandson, but to come and have a meeting with him. There's one other thing is I looked up to see where Trump, more than once, he said that he was the least racist person that you've ever met, or the least racist person in the room. And so when I would hope a monumental announcement would come today, but if it doesn't, you know, there's a force that's been trying to divide our nation, and certain areas around the country are kind of prominent. Like Detroit is one of them. If you have black people, white people, Asian people, and people from all over the world working together on an assembly line, a strong Detroit, a strong America is bad for Europe and bad for Asia. So Martin Luther King Jr. marched in the streets of Detroit. He had support in Detroit, and if like I was saying earlier, we all snap together. We snap together in faith. We snap together in a joint task where we're all working together for the same goal and the same outcome to set everybody free. And so I'm excited about how that ties in and how we will see the revelations come forward on that.
Amen. Amen. Cappy, anything you want to add to that? What we just watched with LK or LT and we know? Your thoughts?
I think everything is a orchestrated distraction. You know, you have the fact that Renee Good's name was Googled over 100 times in Israel on January 2nd, days before the event. You know, everything is a look here, not there. And that one's a big one because it spun up a lot of people. You know, a lot of the MAGA crowd are like the, you know, FAFO crowd. And honestly, I've looked at the video. I've been in situations like during COVID when a cop told me I couldn't go to this particular island, that I had to wear a mask. I almost got arrested many times, almost got grabbed by one and probably tackled by the other 5 if he had grabbed me. So I could imagine her fear when he came and went to go to the door. I don't know if she was really trying to hit the guy, but I know she probably didn't deserve to die, you know, because I don't think anybody deserves to die. And I you know, I see bad on both sides of this story because the MAGA crowd are kind of spun up, and you know, and you got the other crowd spun up because we are in America still. We do have rights, right to protest. And if they think it's a grievance, I didn't see her doing anything illegal or violent before, you know, she tried to get away from the cop when he went and grabbed the door.
Well, she did. She did break the law by not listening to the officers to get the fuck out of the car. She decided to back it up and then take off when she should have stopped.
Well, but do they have the right to order a citizen? Do they have the right to order a citizen out of the car?
They certainly do, especially if they're blocking traffic.
Yeah, and
think about it, Cappy. You're blocking.
Well, no. Did you watch the whole video though?
I did.
Because I did
I'm
watch her waving people by until they were absolutely done with it.
Hang on.
Yeah,
we're not going there. We're not going there today. We're not. This is not what we're going to be doing here in Q School today. Talking about these shenanigans. Obviously, what we're talking about.
No, brother. And then you have Long Island Audit. He got accosted because he was literally filming ICE officers in the pursuit of their duties. And Long Island Audit is pretty damn good at what he does. So if they violate our rights on the, you know, temporary safety, that whole thing, it was a Jefferson or Franklin, one of them said that if you give up safety or give up liberty for the sake of safety, do you deserve either? And we can't do that. And we can't actually, you know, say that it's a good thing that somebody died, ever. That's all I'm saying. Period.
Cool.
You know?
Well, thanks for sharing, bro. Awesome. Anything you
but
want to add?
I think that's where you're getting spun up. See how both sides are spun up there?
Let me say
you see what I'm saying?
The Insurrection Act. We have 2 interesting dynamics happening in Minneapolis. I don't know if you guys have caught it, but the news very recently, as of the 17th, 18th, when Walz, he activated the National Guard and put them like on a standby as a number one. They kind of released their goals, which was one, protection of life. But what is interesting is that, like, I asked Grok just to back me up on this or not conflict what I'm saying, but who has authority over the National Guard in wartime? Emergency declarations, executive orders, continuity of government, etc. It's the commander-in-chief. The power of the National Guard goes from the state governors to the commander-in-chief under certain presidential actions, right? Which is what we're dealing with here. The underground military operation that's under the surface and not public, right? So this is interesting that the news is framing it as that Walls has activated the National Guard instead of it being federalized under an alliance operation, right? And so, secondly, you also have this DOJ investigation of the Mayor Fry, spelled though House of Frey from Game of Thrones. All right, Walter Frey, the Red Wedding, all these things from Game of Thrones, same exact Frey. So you have this Mayor Fry of Minneapolis that's part of the Walls investigation of the DOJ. Now, the very early drops of Q are playing out here because what is Q asking? What it was it just stated in that video? What has to happen to go from MI away from the three-letter agencies? So again, I had to ask Grok on this. Who operates a DOJ investigation? Who are they normally using? Just and Grok says FBI would be normally who is going to conduct a domestic investigation. So again, I'm just kind of wondering is what was Q's intention of stating MI over three-letter agencies? It doesn't necessarily say FBI. It says CIA, NSA, or not CIA because they would never do NSA. It must be FBI, NSA. I don't know if it even specifies.
I mean, it could be any three-letter. It could be anybody. It could be Department of Homeland Security.
So I just
all
wonder
that. So yeah,
are they tying it to Walls because of the National Guard? Think about it. If you're going to have some kind of civil war, because again, 22, which you've talked about, Tim, at the end says clean and swift, no civil unrest, no civil war. And other no civil war drops are important here because I think you're going to have this battle between what just happened today. All their fucking police force, excuse the French, left, right? And like half of them went and submitted applications to ICE. So I don't know. You have this continued buildup in the script of the state versus federal, and just how this is going to play out. It's a big education school for everybody, right? Because people have to learn executive, judicial. You guys talk about it a lot. The three branches and just all of it. And in the meantime, in the backdrop, we have 2020 elections, midterms coming up. People are not gonna be. I'm not going to vote unless you prove to me we have some kind of a fixed system, right? And again, I think a lot has to happen playing out until the State of the Union, February.
What's the date of the State of the Union, Brian?
I yield for a minute, but boy, I want to go to. Hey, remind me. Let's go to Super Bowl later because I have some interesting nuggets about what happened this weekend and how it's leading into our drops. It's gonna be fucking great.
And then that's when I'm down. But also that's when I want you to go ahead and share with everyone maybe tomorrow too on a deeper level. But we'll tease it and then point you.
Quit doing that, bro. I'll just leave. You scare me from fucking talking. Who else do you restrict from talking? Bro, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, I'll go, man.
Yeah, brother. I tell you what, honestly, Tim, if you ever ask me not to talk about something, or if that's not the way the Q School runs, I just won't come on the show, brother. It'll be fine. But hey, we do need to talk about. There's breaking news in the Tina Peters case that needs to be talked about. She was assaulted last night. She is being held in solitary, and they are trying to hold her on a felony fucking charge for assaulting somebody and defending herself that's several fucking decades younger than her. So once again, we need to get on the damn horn, call the freaking White House, call the freaking police's office, call the jail. Holy shit, guys. Fuck me.
Yeah, and then just in a full circle. And Brian, I'm never going to limit you, so share whatever you want, brother. I got it. Green light, go. Green light, go. And the full circle and everything too, like I think what even Cappy was talking about, like to having this police state thing, right, is like something we want to avoid. But there's clearly the movie playing out. It's like the whole anti-ICE guys are saying, trust the plan, hold the line. So we've seen all that shit. I think it's important to not engage so much because that's the cabal's plan, is to make everybody fight each other, right? Or that's the Black Pillars plan, is to always like be fearful of this, it trumps the deep state, or this is their plan, right? So we got to kind of rise above these situations. But I think it's good that we see that all firsthand, like different opinions, different ideas. to hash it out. That's so something that's from this Q School, our movement, right, Tim? And all the different Telegram chats, we've had a chance to hash these things out, and people have different opinions, and that's perfectly fine, you know, and how you kind of work different things out, because we've been through this all.
Amen. That's what Telegram chats are good for. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's right. Is it my
since we brought up Tina Peters, also the appeal went to court, and it was before 3 justices, and that video was made available to see on the live streaming. You know, there's how do you make the people that are doing wrong make the right move? So we are waiting to hear back from the justices, I believe. You know, I've called the White House, you know, to support, you know, any action to help Tina Peters. You know, there's lots of us that are praying, so I love doing even a 10-second prayer. Lord, please protect Tina, surround her with your angels, and Lord, we ask for supernatural divine intervention, that she would be released as soon as possible, and we ask for favor for her, that she would be set free, even if you got to send angels in and they release her from prison like the apostles. There were times that there was a divine intervention. The apostles walked out of the high security prison, and their chains had just fallen off of them. So it's also happened in modern times, and so we're asking for supernatural favor in that case. You know, and that I'm glad that that's brought back to the surface, because if that information, like basically this movement of truth is closing in on every side. There's, whether it's the election, whether it's the banks and the silver, and whether it's the tariffs, whether it's military, whether it's local or international, like we're closing in on every side. So you know, every step forward just makes it tighter for there's less and less moves for evil people to operate in.
Well said. Amen. And the phone number for Tina Peters, free Tina Peters, on the bottom of the screen. You can see it flashing by. Everybody get on the horn and make the phone call. We've been doing it for how long, Melzie? We've been calling that number for the last month anyway, at least the last month, before Christmas and up until now.
Yeah, you guys have been amazing with that, with your promotion of Tina Peters, man. So much appreciated, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Melzie?
so also, Kyle, I just sent you a text from TinaPeters.us for immediate release. Tina Peters assaulted. Last night, Tina Peters was assaulted at approximately 9 p.m. Mountain Time in La Vista Correctional Facility. Tina was inside a maintenance closet to fill up a water unit when an inmate approached her in the closet and began striking her in anger. Tina raised her hands and pushed the inmate away in defense of herself. Per Tina, the camera showed her pushing the inmate away from her out of the closet. She was subsequently handcuffed, shackled, and brought to solitary confinement. Tina was told she was being charged with felony assault for defending herself against an unprovoked attack. She will be locked down completely for 24 to 72 hours and held in IDO, the whole in parentheses, for an unknown period of time. As far as Tina is aware, the inmate who assaulted her has not been charged, slept in their cell last night, and will face no consequences. This incident is clearly a targeted attack against Peters. In all likelihood, it's being used as an opportunity to isolate and harass Tina Peters. Tina has been warning officials that something like this would happen eventually. She was advised to apply for the incentive pod. Tina has applied repeatedly and has been denied despite nothing disqualifying her. Something is not right at LVCF. Tina has minor injuries, but is not seriously injured as of this morning. Can you imagine a 70-year-old Tina Peters being charged with another felony for defending herself? Please support Tina. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Thank you for that, Aaron. There you go. La Vista Correctional Facility, too. We've had those numbers up. Shout out to Scott Russell. Also, Unite, the number 4, freedom.com. He's working for election integrity and security out there in Colorado. And he can also, on that website, Unite, the number 4, freedom, Qschqql.com. You can also check out your own states as well too, how you can get involved. And what else did they have in there? I can't remember, but shout out again, Scott. He's even in specifically Colorado too. So thank you guys for all your different connections, helping us with Tina and that whole situation as well too. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Prayers up for Tina. Man, I mean, what an evil, corrupt world we live in, folks. I mean, it's point blank, it's right in your face. And yeah, thanks for bringing that to our attention, you guys. I had no idea. That's the first time I heard of that. Wasn't the
that came from a text from Juan, actually. So that's how we actually got that information.
Okay.
And it wasn't at 4 a.m. Well, that's kind of awesome.
I just seen Apollo's post a moment before, an hour ago. So I was reading that, and then I got that. It's the same. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's the full story.
But yes.
Amazing how these circles work, man. They're, like Andrew said, you know, they're getting bigger but tighter. And, you know, you just got to really be careful who you follow, because there's big names out there that have been exposing themselves. That was all last week. But I don't know if I want to get into that today.
And I bet Q Drops match stuff going on with Tina today, too.
Well, we should get into some deltas probably about now, Tim, right? What else you got for us? Are we ready to get into delta stuff?
Yeah, we could do deltas, and we've got some breaking news from John Solomon, who's reporting that the machine is rolling, quote unquote. Major investigation with on Walls and Fry, and who's the AG there? What's his name? The AG in Minneapolis.
Which one is the AG? That's
what's his name? Anyway, another scumbag, another psychopath. Anyway, they're all being there's a grand jury impaneled in regards to taking them all down, and the subpoenas will be going out later today. John Solomon says, I've got that report on the bottom of Digger's third one up, Kyle, if you want to play that.
The video. Yeah, let's play that video, cover some of this stuff, and then we'll get into the deltas for the second half. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Get to the bottom of which we're saying, Mr. President, we agree. Make you call the Justice Department and give them a heads up. John Solomon, what in the hell is going on here, sir?
Well, listen, I think what happened is we're starting to see members of Congress dug into the Somali fraud scandal. James Comer, Rand Paul, even Tom Emmer, the number 3 member in the House, or 3 leader in the House, all saying this was a business model. And the business model goes like this. First, overturn Donald Trump's plan to not count illegal aliens in the census. You count them, then they go towards apportionment, and they go towards federal fund distribution. So the liberals do that first. They reverse Donald Trump's plan to not count illegal aliens in the 2020 census. Then Biden opens the borders. Then the nonprofits, the liberal nonprofits, take taxpayer money and move those illegal aliens from the border to battleground states into blue sanctuary states. Then they allow them to get on welfare, even though the law says you're not supposed to get on welfare as an illegal alien for 5 years. Then when the fraud starts, because that's the only way to keep these illegal aliens present in the cities, they turn a blind eye to that. Now, every one of those 5 sentences happened. What Comer, what Rand Paul, and what Tom Emmer and several other people are telling me is they're now beginning to see evidence that this was a master plan that the left and maybe some of its allies in foreign countries were working on together. Now, if that turns out to be true, it'll be one of the biggest stories of our lifetime. If the Democratic Party intended to have Mullen borders broken down and illegal mass migration into the battleground states to save the Democratic Party during a time when the country was turning more and more conservative, more red, more Trump red, that would be an extraordinary story. There's zero doubt that Congress is investigated. Those 5 things all happened. If they're able to prove that it was part of the master plan and hold to account those who built the plan and executed the plan, it will be one of the most largest reckonings in American history.
John, with that, and you're kind of saying, hey, where's only been, these guys are proving this have been years, but you've got that, plus you got the deep state. Charlie Kirk's student action summit in July, I said the most important thing we got to do, the highest priority, is take it apart, because we don't do it. Pasovic's been putting up tweets over the last couple of days of people he's hearing just the low propensity, low information voters of Trump saying, hey, man, I just don't see it. You came on the show, I think, back in July and talked about the conspiracy. That 4.5 minute clip is now going viral again. People are looking at you like, what the hell's going on here? Is this really serious? You see things about the business model, instead of going, yes, it's obvious. People are talking about it, but we're burnt daylight. As you know, what's the? Is there a see anywhere? President puts out they owned it last night, and it's like, we got it. Why is no one looking at her and the husband and her $30 million? Yeah. You're dialed in. Is there any sense that working around the clock and working weekends to sort this mess out?
There is, and I think the most important day was January 12th, Monday, January 12th, because that is when the grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, for the first time convened to look at the grand conspiracy case. I have seen enormous activity by federal prosecutors all across the country since that day. Documents being pulled, people being briefed, questions being asked, evidence being gathered. There is an effort to put together a conspiracy case that the government was weaponized to deprive Donald Trump and his followers of their civil liberties by falsely pursuing them for criminal charges when there was no evidence to do so. That will take you all the way back to Jack Smith, Amos Lerner, 2014 IRS, all the way to Jack Smith, 2024, and the prosecutions that ultimately were dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon. And ironically, that will all be in Eileen Cannon's district. And it looks like that's where the grand jury is based. Now, separate of that, there is the Democrat machinery, the fraud machinery, and the possibility that's an election strategy. You saw Friday night that the confirmation that Waltz and Mayor Fry are being criminally investigated for obstructing the ICE activities. But that investigation is broader than just interference in ICE. It's also looking at whether a willful and blind eye was turned to the fraud, because the fraud was essential to a Democrat election strategy. That grand jury in Minnesota is looking at more than that. There could be subpoenas delivered today or tomorrow, hand delivered to the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis. That is a big moment. I would not be surprised to see the Minnesota Attorney General also receive a grand jury in the next couple of days, because these whistleblowers, these state workers, are now cooperating with federal investigators. Rand Paul confirmed that on Friday. So you have a federal criminal investigation, congressional investigation, looking at this strategy that the president just tweeted out in the story I did. Then the final piece of the puzzle, and I think this could have indictments or arrests as early as this month, based on my reporting, is they're looking at who is funding these protests, who is obstructing ICE, who are the funders, the orchestrators, the facilitators of these riots and these efforts to impede lawful enforcement. I think that could be the first sign of indictments, that we could see arrests and indictments as early as the end of this month, based on the activity I'm seeing in the field. I think the Florida grand jury will probably look at between now and early spring before we see the activities there. But for the first time, the resources are in place, the evidence is gathered, and now real grand jury activity that can result in real charges beginning to happen. Now, they got to deliver, right? It's one thing to have the process, and another thing to deliver. So we'll have to see if they deliver, but the machine is rolling.
The machine is rolling. Oh, man. You must be really in the closet, because it was pretty crackly. But anyway, I think you guys got the gist of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop out real quick and come right back. It'll knock Mel out.
Yeah, get back in the closet, you. So, Andrew, Melzie, what did you think of that breaking news? That was this morning on War Room. Subpoenas are coming out. We were just talking about Qschqql 28. Can you guys hear me? Andrew, can you hear me? Something weird's going on, man. Are they messing with our stream today?
We got you. I can hear you, Tim. We can hear you.
Andrew, can you hear us?
Yeah. So I was doing a quick calculation there. I didn't know if there was a question popped out to the group, but I was doing some quick digging. So, go ahead and pick it, kick the ball around one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, well, basically, in a nutshell, what Solomon is saying on his reporting, of course, John Solomon, we talk about him a lot here. We play him a lot because he's in the Q drops, right? Him, Sarah Carter. Sarah Carter's the new drug czar, by the way, in the Trump administration version 2, just in case you guys missed that one we talked about 2 weeks ago. which is really interesting. But anyway, what he's saying is that they've impaneled a grand jury. The investigations have all been that's what they've been doing, is tracking and tracing all of them, right? Follow the money, all the investigative work. And now it looks like the subpoenas are coming out later today. And there's going to be some indictments by the end of this month, which is only like 10, 11, 12 days from now, the end of the month. So we're going to see some heavy duty action here in the next 11, 12 days in regards to all of that, all the shenanigans that we're seeing unfold before our very eyes in the state of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I saw that. And then let's see, I'm going to show this other thing we got in Diggers here. And Aaron and Cap, you guys are still there too. I just put the screen down, but you guys, if you want to open your mic, you can share anything, or you want to come back on the screen, we'll pop you back up too. This is what Trump posted here. Rigged elections are common in the U.S., with the presidential election of 2020 being the granddaddy of them all. We demand voter ID. Any talk of voter ID in the Q drops there, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Lots of that.
All right. In Somalia fraud scandal, Republicans probe evidence of blue state election scheme. So justthenews.com, that's John Solomon's there, .com/accountability. There it is. Republicans are now on the investigative prowl and sounding increasingly confident they can find and prove there was an intentional strategy by the Democrats to hijack elections. And let's see what the rest of that here. Election scheme. There it is. The article. Just the news. Here's the website there again too. We can get all the John Solomon information. And what else they have on Just the News here, Tim?
Yeah, it is. It's really scratchy. Well, Just the News. That's John Solomon. He's got his show every day, Monday through Friday at 6:00 Eastern on Real America's Voice, which I watch daily. He's always cracking out all the latest and greatest investigations that are coming our way.
Yep. As the magnitude of complexity of Minnesota's Somali immigrant welfare fraud scandal comes into clearer focus, Republicans in Congress are more boldly talking about it being part of a larger scheme by Democrats, illegal immigrants and purported refugees to hijack federal elections and manipulate apportionment that determines Americans' congressional representation and federal funding. So that even connects, guys, to the freaking census. In the last few censuses, I guess, and they admitted this, we're counting illegal aliens. I couldn't believe it because that happened in 2020. So I guess we had to see all this stuff out because now Trump's signing the executive order that's going to be this election integrity or emergency authorization. Yep. Who knows how it's going to go? But we should have voter ID laws enacted, and I mean all these other things that's like you can't even believe this is real. Oh, the SR one though is like a new census. The number, I lost track of what I was saying there, guys. If you're counting illegal people, they literally get more members in Congress. It's based on population. In the United States, you have 2 senators for every state. That gives everybody equal weight in that regard. That's why the United States were created like that, to give everyone a voice. That's also why we have the Electoral College. Each state is worth points, which is basically our electors, are the people we elected to govern. I mean, not govern, but represent us, are voting for us with the Electoral College. And again, the left's trying to get rid of that because it'd be way, way easier for mass fraud if we just had a popular vote. Okay, and again, the lie was that they had been winning the popular vote. Whenever the Republicans won, they only won by the Electoral College, which Trump's been saying for a long time. He said in 2016 election, he had the popular vote too. So we'll see how that's all going to play out. But that's basically a big part of this, is they've been counting illegals. So you have extra Congress members for that. And they've been freaking having people counted in the census, and they're voting illegally. So it's like a double whammy. They're getting more people's seats and they're getting more illegal votes. Like, you can't make this shit up. So it's going to be wild. This has to play out before 2026. Just like Brian was saying, he's like, I'm on his page. I'm not going to go vote unless something gets exposed here. And like, we know that we have a secure election.
I was wondering, is there going to be like so many people are wondering, when's the EBS coming? Is there going to be an announcement? And the reason why I was digging to see where the 120-day window is, because supposedly from the announcement to the election and the resolution, it's a 120-day window. So let's say if it were now, could we have this mess cleaned up by July 4th so we could get on celebrating the 250th anniversary? Or is it going to be around July 4th and then it happens to fall in our normal election cycle, which if we listen to Trump, he calls out the shots. Like he said, we're going to win big. And then, he said we were going to take back the House, and he took back the House, and now they're talking about midterms, you know, and it's like, so also the brain trust that is guiding us through this time, they want to keep things stabilized. If we look at what three-letter agencies did to other countries, they would try to destabilize a country, whether it was military or financial or political. So as long as you know, like, things are going on smooth, and you know, we're marching forward. And yes, there are flare-ups around different parts of the country that are trying to pull our attention. But if we look at the horizon, the bigger picture, I do you have a second? Can I do the New Year's Eve rundown of what most people missed? I'll try to keep that to about 60 seconds. So Rosie Rios was the Secretary of the Treasury appointed by Obama. So what did she know about the money? What did she know about the $1 billion that was sent to Iran and the extra $151 billion that was sent over there as capitulation or hush money back in the 2000, in the Obama administration? Well, you know, as it plays out and it plays forward, she is in charge of the America 250 as far as the face person. And so she was on New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, and they did a ball drop. They did a second ball drop with the red, white, and blue, so that way they could save it for archival video to be used later in our celebration. And so most people were partying and didn't even notice that that was going on. Well, even more, if you look at your money, most likely it's signed by Rosie Rios. If you look at also what was going on, Trump was celebrating at Mar-a-Lago, and when he and Melania walked in, that supposedly the Lone Ranger song "High Ho Silver" was being played out, and Melania is wearing a silver dress. Silver's going bonkers at that point. Like the banks thought that they could short it in the 50s, or even, as I heard, as high as 39. So they were caught upside down, while silver's at like 62 or 65. And then China put a full stop on exporting. They're not exporting any more silver. You need a permission from the government to export any silver, and they realize there's 100 million ounce shortage of silver. So you got to keep the factories going. You got to keep the solar panels and the car batteries manufacturing. And if it's an extra 50 or $100 for them to make their battery for their car, that's a $50,000 car, they're going to pay it. So that silver's not going to slow down. Now the question is, when is the news going to report the truth on what silver's really, like, just go on eBay and try to buy silver and see what the price is. So in any case, but one more thing is Rosie Rios was hand signing sheets of paper, and there were Chinese characters in this one photograph that I found out. I'm like, okay, so what's the translation? We wish you good fortune. And so I'm wondering if we look at the Obama administration that was setting up Hillary to destroy America, there would be no more American flags. Could you imagine if they took the person that was at the helm of the Secretary of the Treasury position and they're at the wheel, or they're holding the purse strings, and now all of a sudden they're in charge of celebrating that America's still here? So, like, let's stay confident. Let's celebrate America, and I think the election's going to continue on. Like, I would love an EBS announcement today. I would love it in March. I would love it in July. But if we have it in July, then it sets up the midterm, as long as things are going in the right direction there. Now, we going back to what you shared with the X-22 report, they had Army soldiers doing intelligence work on civilian groups. And so, like you brought up the point of the cell phones, every communication can be tracked now. And then on top of it, if you look at Monkey Works, his work on YouTube channel, he's like, hey, here's all the balloons that have eyes in the sky that are able to get facial recognition on every one of these people. And so, there's nobody that's, number one, God knows everything that's going on. And then number two, the military intelligence has all the intelligence that they need, but you can't let one evil person get away. We can't start over a new society with anybody that has any evil intention and the ability or capability of getting back in power. So when it talks about draining the swamp, like, we can't leave one swamp creature. So, but one of my favorite Q posts was talking about track the resignations. And since somebody started creating the website to track the resignations, 14,300 people resigned. This is a big deal. Like, people just can't even fathom how big of a deal it is to clean up this mess. And if it takes 8 years, or it took 30 years or 60 years, but we're going to be the first generation that are going to enjoy true freedom.
Yeah, well said. And you brought another RR to our attention. There's multiple meetings. So that what was that lady's name? The RR?
Rosie Rios.
Yeah, there's another RR.
I won't try to pronounce her middle name, the or maiden name, but I'll stick to the shorter names, Rosie Rios. But if you look on your printed bills, the fiat currency, you'll probably see her signature on there. But just most people don't realize the NFL has America 250 on their sideline. I looked at Dodge Motor Company; they had it on their website. Like, it's going to be everywhere. So the deep state wanted, the establishment, the cabal, the elites wanted to destroy America, and they had a plan to do it. They were going to reduce the world's population. If you look at the depopulation movement, a lot of people argue with me about a lot of different things. I've never had one person argue with me about the depopulation movement. They wanted to either poison us or radiate us or kill us off or keep us from reproducing and get the world's population down to 500 million people. If that's 500 million people, that would have to be worker bees that don't ask a question, and intelligent creative people that will follow orders of a tyrannical dystopian government. So all of us that are asking questions, we are keeping the faith alive for those who are divinely intelligent and asking brilliant questions.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. Like, you painted a nice picture there too, Andrew. I just got to say, and we talk a lot about that here on Q School, about going into the midterm elections and how important these midterm elections really are, and how it is a big part of the plan. And I really believe, based on, not only the Q drops, but what Trump is saying, what the boss has been telling us all along, and tracking resignations, like you had mentioned, and then watching how the 2020 fraudulent election stuff is all of a sudden popping its head up, and you're seeing all different parts of America starting to show the results, and the battles behind the scenes are starting to come to the front and center now, and they're starting to get their cases out into the public's viewing. So step by step, as we inch closer to the midterms, there's a number of things happening, right? And I'm glad Cappy came back, because Cappy and Aaron are over the target when it comes to election stuff and everything that's going on. But what I see happening, Andrew, and Cappy and Kyle and everybody watching and listening to us, is as we get closer and closer to the elections, we're going to see more of these grand juries impaneled. We're going to see more investigatives, more unsealed indictments, more people being hauled in, their asses hauled off of the streets. We're already seeing the tracking and tracing of all these goons and all these retards on the streets that are protesting against ICE right now, and the removal of all the illegal aliens, which were voting on the original voting rolls. That's all going to be cleaned up. You've got the mail-in voting system's going to be all tied up in a bow and cleaned up and not part of it. They're working on the machines already. And then you're going to have probably, if not National Guard, you're going to have at least ICE agents at every voting station throughout the United States come midterm election day. So there won't be a single illegal alien able to vote. It's going to be free and fair elections. One day, a paper ballot, voter ID. I mean, I can see it all unfolding, and we're going to have a massive explosion, or a red tsunami, we call it. I forget what Q drop number that is, but Kyle and I covered that months ago. How important it is and how it relates to the Law of War Manual. You can't make this up. This is all falling into place. So, Cappy, did I miss anything, brother? Like, you guys are right in the thick of it when it comes to the election stuff, and you've got so many ties out there and so many great connections. Are you seeing the same thing we're seeing unfold before our very eyes, sir?
Well, the Venezuela stuff with Patrick Byrne and him being on Emerald Robinson, that all being dropped, it's leaking out. It hasn't made all the BS mainstream, but that's foreign interference. That's 13848, right?
and Sequoia and Smartmatic's connection, which is coming out because Sequoia was where Dominion came from, because Sequoia like transferred into Dominion. So the Smartmatic connection to Sequoia way back when is all coming front and center too. Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
that
you,
that
Andrew.
also ties into
One
into
administrative thing, real quick.
go ahead.
What Adam, when we had a little feedback on yours last time too, so I had to mute you. Maybe go into settings on the audio and click noise cancellation, or turn your volume down a bit. Sometimes we have a little feedback. So go ahead, Andrew. And I'll just mute him for now, and then we'll try again.
Oh, I was going to comment on how Venezuela leads us a couple of different directions because so supposedly Iranians were coming over using their Iranian passports to get to Venezuela, and then they were dumping those to grab the Venezuelan passports to get into the United States. But when you talk about the Smartmatic and if you talk about Dominion, so at what point are we going to get to talking about Soros and Clinton? You know, it's like when you know it's interesting how the media is doing all the damage control they can because they obviously don't want those two to get connected, because as we start getting to bigger puzzle pieces, you know, like I was just looking on a search, and like in the last 2 weeks or the last month, if you look up just George Soros and click news, you can see money moving around. You can see how he was, you know, like he's he's been hiring protest groups. And so if some of these things that are happening, how many of them are actually organic, where there are actually people that are really upset, or are these actually paid protesters? If they're a paid protester, are they actually a paid army or mercenary armies? Even if they aren't causing physical damage, they're causing ideological damage, and then the news can use that to feed into their system. And so
just like J6, just like the Fedsurrection, when you had, you know, federal officers that were literally being the antagonists, that were making good people, you know, have that hive mentality, you know, when all reason kind of goes out. There's some studies about that. I'll let the psychologist fill people in about that. But, you know, people do bad things when they're in these groups, and they can be literally led by one or two bad actors.
Absolutely. So, you know, and these actions that are happening around, it's sorting out where people, what their alliance is to. Is their alliance to God, family, country? Is their alliance to taking money from a foreign person, indirectly or directly? Because most likely there's shadow company after shadow company and umbrella company after umbrella company, and this institute and that foundation, and people just don't realize how to track the money. And you know, there's a gentleman that I was just looking up a moment ago that's the current recorder for Colorado is telling the governor not to free or pardon Tina Peters. And then it's like, okay, well, this I believe it's Stephen Richer is connected to he's a Republican sounding group, but then it connects to the Cato Institute, and when you start to understand, well, like, would these institutes or foundations be America first, or are they trying to protect a foreign interest that's trying to undermine our nation? Sounded like Aaron.
Reading that on X. And Stephen Richard, do not forget, he was Maricopa County's county recorder for the elections. And now he's coming out against, speaking against Tina Peters. Peters knowingly violated Colorado state law. I'm not going to read the rest of his X post because he doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about Cato and all that. I can't believe I'm literally reading that at the same time. And Richard was the supervisor when we were there fighting Maricopa County. Oh, GOP folk County and false.
One more time, Andrew. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying you guys were right on the front lines with that. I was in Palm Beach in Florida, and I got to see what was going on there. You guys were in Maricopa, and so you know, it's just,
God. It was God. We got blessed to be on a horse ranch while we were hanging out doing all those crawling up the board of supervisors' butts. I mean, it was God, brother. It was amazing.
Well, and even being in Palm Beach County, most people don't realize that Florida, is what flipped the Bush versus Gore election, and Roger Stone caught them red-handed. And so, people like these people aren't going anywhere. The three-letter agency might rattle somebody, but Roger Stone's still there. I've worked with other whistleblowers and investigative journalists. They're still there. So if we realize that we are making progress on every area where we are going to continue to ask the questions, we're going to continue to want accountability, and we're going to arrive at the conclusion where we the solution that creates an election that has integrity will present itself. And if it hasn't already, and I believe it's already been talked about, and then when the bad actors can no longer bring in ballots from other countries or just print them up, it'll be interesting to see what this country looks like if there's no foul play.
And I think the EBS, the emergency broadcast, might be just that, the election emergency. And then an announcement of that EO that puts us on the, like the hand count, roadshow.org. Mark Cook had that little red button on his thing. Go there, click the button. You'll see what's a proposed EO that's supposedly on Trump's desk. That, if that happens, that puts them into panic mode. Abso-freaking-lutely. That's going to be a weird event when that happens, brother. Agree or disagree?
I agree 117%, Cap. Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, like I said, as we get closer and inch our way towards the midterms, and welcome, Adam. Thanks for joining us. Like if the deep state, like Andrew's saying, all of the cabal, all of the little street demons, all of them are all wrapped up in one tiny little bow, one big fish net, if you want to call it, because they're all tracked and traced. They follow the money. All the investigatives are going on behind the scenes. No leaks. That's key. It's in the Q drops. No leaks. And we got all these impaneled grand juries. So when all of the streets are cleaned up and all of the strings been cut and all the money is stopped, the cartels and the globalist psychopaths that we call, when they lose all their power to have a fraudulent election, because that's all we've lived through is fraudulent elections, and all of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, or maybe forever, we're going to see, for the first time ever, the American citizens are going to have a free and fair election. And honest to God, when they clean the pathway for we the people to take our power back, and everybody does their thing, which is go out and vote on voting day on a free, fair election with voter ID and paper ballots, all counted the same day as the voting day on 11.3. No coinky-dinks.
Count where cast, count where they cast, right? Count where cast, voter ID, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, like there's no way that I mean, you're not going to see another Democrat involved in politics probably for the next 20, 30, 40 years, folks. This is the end of the Democrat Party, and they know it.
The thing is, like Cappy said, it's going to be weird because you're going to go from, this two-party system, this division that we've had this whole time, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a landslide to the right, and people are going to be wondering, like, how did it even get to that place in the first place? Like, what happened?
America first, brother.
Complacency. We were on that hamster wheel. Too many, trying Monday through Friday, house over our heads, clothes on our backs, maybe food in our kids' mouths. Too busy trying to make ends meet just to think about what the heck they were doing to us.
All by design, right, Cappy? The whole thing was designed to keep us distracted while they slithered their way through the grass and took over and infiltrated every segment, every section, every industry, and including our government, like from the ground up. I mean, it's all been infiltrated in stages, different steps, right? Local, right up to the top. So, I mean, that's why military is the only way. It had to be done this way. They're doing the heavy lifting. They're taking it from the top down, and we, the people, as we get bigger, larger, more courageous, stronger, we're taking our power back. We start cleaning from the bottom up, and we meet somewhere in the middle. And in the middle, it basically brings us back. And I've always said this, Cappy and Andrew and Adam and everybody listening, is that somehow, some way, we are going to get our way back to the original Constitution, where we, the people, form our government, not the government. Like, we take control back, and that's we, the people, having our power back. Hence, like what Adam brought up, like, we're going to get rid of this two-party system because there won't be any Democrats left. They're either going to be locked up or whatever. I mean, they're all fraudsters.
That's what I'm saying. Is people are gonna. It's gonna be such a landslide that it's gonna be unrecognizable. It's gonna be like people are gonna be wondering how Democrats even got in there in the first place. But that's the beauty of the lesson of going through a process and being able to see like just how bad things had gotten, and how asleep we all were.
And remember, though, it's not just a right-left thing. They took everybody over. If they needed to have you, they were going to have you. Whether they had to put child porn onto your laptop, and you would never do that. They were going to grab you by the, what's and squeeze. And then if they didn't, set you up with some 17-year-old in D.C. and you took her back to your place in Virginia, you thought she was 26. But next thing you know, you just trafficked a minor across state lines. There's so many ways that they honeypotted and blackmailed. And then, God forbid, you took a friggin' bribe, because if you ever took a bribe, well, then they got you by the testicles there. You're just, these judges, everybody is kind of useless these days. So it had to be the military. It had to be EO 13848, EO 13818, crimes against humanity. These doctors that made people take jabs because they were incentivized by their friggin' drug pushing pharmaceutical companies to make sure 75% or 80%. Oh, we'll give you a bonus if all your, oh my God, man. So many things are going to come out, and I can't wait to see it.
Well said,
Hey,
brother. Well said.
We did miss one part of the government that often gets missed, is the senior executive service. How many people even knew what that meant or how powerful it was? So if you got people that are making $225,000 a year, and there's some secret government executive that is steering the course of our country for disaster, and it's like, I would have loved to see how Trump and the military met with those people face to face, and from 1978 forward, they were steering our country in ways that usurped our Constitution and our due process and the elections and how the free will of American people. So I've heard other people talk about the senior executive service, but I think that most people will never know until that somebody does a fantastic documentary on the other side of how that has affected our country for almost 50 years now. 40,
and their connection to Serco, SERCO, which is over in Britain and connects to the city of London and the bankers. Those they tie together and they meet together and discuss how to, fuck all of us.
And ironically, guys, we just got Field McConnell. He does a live show every week still, so you can listen to him talk about his sister, talk about Serco, talk about the SES, and that's an amazing thing that Jenny does on Revival America. That's another good. You guys really. I need to connect you guys, and have Jenny come on the show, meet everybody here, and a lot more people. So we'll keep this going, brother.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out. One of the guys that when I met Zach Voorhees, I also met Miriam Haneen, who is an incredible journalist, and then Ian Trottier. Ian Trottier just came out with a book not that long ago, and that's talking about, I believe, Brennan. And so I'll have to see if I can connect Kyle and Ian, because they would have a fantastic conversation. talking Q posts and what research that he came up and especially put in that book. But you know, we weren't, you know, like we lived in, as it was talked about, we were living in a society that it was work 9 to 5. But, you know, I was put out of work as a travel agent after 9/11. I had to go find other work. The auto industry was affected in Detroit, and that was hard to find work. And then I'm a rideshare driver in South Florida, and, you know, it's like, okay, so, you know, there's still people that haven't been punched in the face on this. Maybe they were able to work from home, or maybe their work wasn't interrupted. You know, like there are still small pockets of our society that haven't been negatively affected. But some people, we've been affected 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And, you know, so how do we stay resilient? Well, obviously trusting in the Almighty, but then realizing that this mission only started when they saw the desired outcome as the only outcome. So we don't know the method or the way or the date or the timing. I've made way too many predictions on dates and I got them all wrong. I apologize to everybody. You know, it's like I'm no genius. Everybody's just trying to speak it in the face. Like we wanted this, you know, back in October of 2020, I'm at Doral and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be over in 10 days. You know, and it's like, okay, well, what would it have done to our society if the table had been flipped that fast and 8 billion people's lives have been turned over in a heartbeat? That would have caused way too much chaos, and the bad actors would have had a field day with us. So the longer this takes, the safer it is for all of us, and the more that the transition will happen gently. So I do have to dip out. I'm gonna I just wanted to kind of close with that, and you know, I love all of you. Godspeed, God bless America. Let's celebrate America 250. And you know, by divine intervention, I think that we're going to be here to have a few more barbecues and to eat some more popcorn.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for coming on, brother. Thank you. Lovely.
Much hugs, much love. Hugs to the wife too.
We had all the friends in here today. So thank you, brother, for stopping in. Thank you so much. Congratulations, you and your new wife. All the beautiful things you got going on out there, brother. Love, love, love.
Yeah, and just to, you know, follow up on what Andrew was saying, brother, honestly, you know, this always had to be the military. So, but enough people had to be woken up to the operation, to what's going to happen, to where they wouldn't have flipped out and thought that it was just a military takeover, you know, some military coup. They had to get the backstory. So enough people had to be ready for this, right? So that's why I had to take as long as it's taking, and it'll take as long as it takes, right? Like Dr. Jan says now. Who's she quoting? I can't remember who she quoted. But anyway,
we were at the precipice. Each time we thought there's even a Q post I show some guy. It's like 2017 or 2018, and the Anons are like, "Do you have any idea how long that's going to take? It's going to take a couple of years." And then, you know, thinking certain things are happening. So it's been part of our own evolution. And like the Cabal's done, we've also psyoped the collective also with our memes and stuff, preparing them mentally for what they're about to see. The plan has been beautifully devised like that. The TDS, which is a real thing. Somebody else was talking about this. It was like originally with George W. Bush, or was that one of you guys? Anyways, the TDS thing is their hatred for Trump makes them so blind, but then the story is made that everything they're against, he winds up taking care of. You know, like they don't want dictator. They call him no dictators. He removes the dictator. It's not good, right? And he's going to go through and actually bring wealth back to all these countries to for these people to have this moment. And then for the people that are awake, they were challenged in different ways, whether, you know, whatever, you know, but a lot of times our personal desires, right? We think, why is it taking so long? What's God doing? Why me? You know, we've all had these certain things, right? And now as we step back, or we've made it through those parts, we're like, oh, now we see the bigger picture, how beautiful the plan is, you know what I mean? And then it's also going to be that much more special and sweet, because like, that's why the Q posts say not another 4-year election. If they came in and just did all this shit, we would take it for granted. We would not have felt the pain that we needed to feel from how, and seen by, had to see how deep and freaking deprived this whole thing is, like from the snaps, from the freaking Medicaid, from the Social Security theft, from the illegal immigrants, from the, I mean, you fucking name it. It's amazing that America has stood this long. And that's a testament to what our founding fathers did. And they have special levers in place when these assholes done of what they've done. They become so secretive, so corrupt that they've taken basically hostage our country, right? And that's where the president has these broad presidential powers to save the republic, because it has to be in order to save the union and also execute the laws, right? So that's what we're here to do. And we've been bitten prep for this for a long, long time. And some of us, thought maybe it was going to happen a little early. I've always tried to push everybody back on the date stuff, but everybody's been challenged on that too. So that's also what holding the line is like, hey, having each other's back. Sometimes we have tough days, sometimes we get pissed off or what have you. And then we all come back to each other and help everyone get recentered and say, hey, buck up, man. It's not easy being on the front lines, but this is why we're fucking here. God said, who shall I send? And we all said, I will go. Who y'all all you guys for doing that? Who y'all? Adam, anything, brother? You got your mic working. Thanks for stopping in, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm just running on y'all's coattail, man. Good job.
Right on. Well, thanks for everybody for all the shares. Tim's still with us. Timbo. Oh, he's in there. We get him on the screen. Timbo. Yeah, we got everybody. We got the full house. Timbo, any other digs with the regular news? And then I got the deltas ready too. If we want to cover some Q drops, got to get some Q chart stuff for all the anons. I don't know if we're gonna get Brian back. We'll have him on tomorrow, probably, guys. But go ahead.
The main breaking news was the John Solomon bombshell news about the investigation and the impaneled grand juries and like they're hauling all their asses in. They're all going to be hauled in, and even all the street demons, even those people that busted into the church yesterday. I mean, like they're all their faces are right there. I mean, they're tracking and tracing them all. They got them all. Caught them all. We caught them all.
You said John.
Can I ask a question? Because we got Adam in here and Kyle, you're good at the drops. Can I ask a question real quick? Because this is a quantum thing that just happened to me. I was watching Landman, and they mentioned that they were wildcatting, which means you're going out and just kind of popping something, and if you hit, whatever. And then I never knew what the hell wildcatting is. I heard it in Landman. Next thing you know, Trump uses it in the latest energy speech. So wildcatting, what does that come out to in gematria? What is that decode? Is there any decodes in the drops wildcatting at all? Curious.
I like all of it, and there's a little bit to that where it's like where are they listening to us, which we've clearly seen and had confirmations of that. But there's also the quantum element where one anon thinks of a dig, and so does another anon. And I think also the more we read the drops, there's a programming in there that helps us get synced up. And also certainly the deltas and then the Q team, all these different things. But it's really random when you come across some kind of term like that. I've never heard that term too. And then the president uses that's kind of a trip. But we'll check it out. Let's I'll bring up the board here and have some fun with it. You guys can add anything else while I'll check that out here.
Yeah, and then after that, we'll go to the diggers and we'll play Roseanne Barr, just a short clip before we go into the deltas, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, 122.
122.
Wildcatting, that's 122. Purple tie, 122. King of Kings, 122. Surrender, 122. America First, 122. The end.
Ooh, America First. Nice.
Hey, type in John Sullivan.
Or Sullivan or Sullivan?
Is it Sullivan or Solomon?
Oh, that's weird.
Oh,
he's the one that was at J6, the John Sullivan.
I did Sullivan, and I was like 157.
That's the guy that was at the thing, though. That's interesting. Sullivan.
That's quantum. Even when you mess up, you don't mess up.
Right. So there's that. Let's check the Q. I like to use QAG for the searches specifically, and then you can always, I don't know. Sometimes you can do less words. So let's see Wildcat. I don't even know if it's one word like that, but let's try that one. That's how the college is, right? No Wildcats. Go ahead.
Bill Clinton 122. Charles Schwab 122.
Ooh. Charles Schwab or Charles Schwab? Like Rigo Suave. Let's see if Wildcats in any of the there we go. We got at UK Wildcats, the University of Kentucky Wildcat fan, and at Wildcat Thad. So there's two Trump tweets, though. That's interesting. I mean, the teams most likely, although that's an at name. So wildcatting, and then let's just do wild. I'm kind of curious how many wild. 48 is wild. I didn't know that one. So 9 Q drops with wild. 93 Expos, 86 Truths. So I'm going to take those down.
Then you
But we got 9 ups. Go ahead.
My bad. Wildcat in football, Wildcat formation.
Right. So pitchers unlocked deal presented that was declined. Puppets going wild.
Yeah.
Wildcat. Here's that Qschqql anniversary one. Check out that 817. That's an 88 right there. 223. Brian was just talking about that with a zero. That was a zero date somehow. That's what we got to get caught up with what that's all about. 4 of Sheriff Scott Israel's deputies waited outside Douglas High. So this is about false flags, school shootings. This is the swamp in South Florida as well. And Anon shares the sauce about Breitbart there. Report 4 Sheriff Scott's deputies waited outside the school. Again, they didn't go in. That was the what's the name of that school shooting? The big one. Parkland. Parkland. That was the Parkland one. Who do you think is leaking the info? Take a wild guess. Analyze shooter, pawn. Voices in his head. We know we are taking action behind the scenes. CNN was set up. Stupid in all caps. Q. Stupid is over here.
Stupid equals 89.
Oh, well, there's Stupid Nose. Stupid Nose, 89. 8 plus 9, 17. So nothing too much on the board, but I've never heard that wild catting actually specifically too.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it too.
An oil term.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a definition of that? So
122 is coming up.
Okay. All right, so let's play that little Roseanne thing, and then that one's just like 40-something seconds. So we'll play
Yeah. Just nice lead into the Deltas today.
Loving this 5x5 channel because it's explaining a lot of things, and I'd like to add my opinion that I think Q is teaching us all to use the internet to research and get to the truth. That's what I think the whole Q movement's about. Okay, and that's good that we use the internet access so that we know what's happening in our name in the world. So if nothing else, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. And there are a lot of levels to it too. It's fun to watch. The transparency of government, it's amazing. The internet is amazing.
All right, there's old Roseanne. Thank you, Roseanne, for that one. And then I wanted to show I had this one up, then I can close the tab out too. And let me know if it's scratchy over on Rumble or YouTube, guys. If the internet seems a little wonky on my end still.
Scratchy.
Yeah. Okay. But here's we're talking about the Georgia Guidestones. That was what Andrew was referring to about the depopulation agenda. Here's the one of the Georgia's Guidestones right there. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide production wisely, improving fitness and diversity. That's about people. Unite humanity with a living new language. That's an interesting one. Rule, passion, faith. Again, these guys always say the beautiful thing, although right here they're saying that basically we need to kill 7.5 billion people. So be mindful about all these nice words afterwards. Unite humanity with a living new language. That one's odd. Rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. And that's for not to go too far off track, but the service to self entities, they are, and that's like do what thou wilt is the whole of the law, is their reason, their logic based. So they can't really understand love or God because they stick to material, because they're in the material realm. So with tempered reason, they're talking about faith and tradition, which again sounds good to have reason in those. So you're not starting wars, but you're also not that's that service to self mentality where it's about reason instead of love. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Of course, we'd love to have that. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Again, these would be nice to see these, but avoid petty laws and useless officials. So basically, all the United States government. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer of the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Interesting. So I wanted to share that one at least. That was the Georgia Guidestones.
That's funny.
Yeah,
you just said nature. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it got blown up real good.
Yeah, right. And then very interesting couple there was with the plus with the triple parentheses ellipses or whatever they're called around it, and then short time later, that thing got blown up. Looks like somebody's got an autograph of them on there too.
There's the jacket. There it is. 107.
Hold on, let me put that one.
The Matador.
That's the flag. That's Roseanne. She signed on the bull's ass.
Oh, Roseanne.
Oh, yeah, Roseanne.
For a second. So look at that.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Juanito's signature is where the heck is? Yeah, there's Juan signed in silver. Where did he sign?
Oh yeah, I saw a silver one a little bit ago.
Oh, there's lots. One's over here somewhere.
Wow.
Right
there he is.
there. Rachel, right side blonde.
Like I said, I thought I saw Professor.
There's
Yeah,
Mountain Mama too.
Oh, Mountain Mama.
Oh, yeah.
Mountain Mama, Carrie Lake is somewhere. Ohio bred.
Professor Clemens.
Professor Clemens.
Right there. The
Yeah,
professor.
Professor. Love.
That's the most recent.
Cool.
Let's see.
Rachel. Here's Rachel.
I just saw.
Oh, Rachel. Look at how she signed her name, man.
Oh,
Can she read or can she write? I mean, dude, her penmanship is on point.
You got General Flynn in there?
Not yet.
General Flynn is one person that he was too busy the last time we saw him in D.C. I mean, there just wasn't.
I forgot it at the Reawaken tour in Doral. It was on the washing machine.
Yep, there's that.
It's like Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. You have to get your General Flynn one later.
Hey,
if he needs it, if he wants it to happen, it'll happen, right? That's the way I kind of look at it. Like Lynn Wood, we met him and we tried to get him to sign it like 3 times, and there wasn't and something or other, and it just didn't happen. So we were like, all right, that wasn't meant to be either. So I don't know.
It would be an honor for you all to sign it too.
Yeah, every single one of you guys need to sign it at one point in time. Absolutely.
Love to.
We'd be honored.
I'm not going to put nasty right over by near Rachel.
I'm not going to put.
Well, we don't know if it's going to be gifted to Donald Trump or JFK Jr., but it's being gifted when it's all done.
Yep.
What a gift you all are, all of us in the movement, and all the amazing things we've done with each other, for each other. Thank you guys. Love you.
Yes,
or maybe even one. No, thank you all. Because, Roseanne had the Magador jacket at the Hialeah rally where the twins were at that wrote your song. Andrea and Q. We didn't know them, but I saw them.
Yeah, we saw the two little blondes and yellow. Yeah, I remember them back then.
We were there for the Reawaken tour, and then we were there. And that was the same time that our flag was left at the washing machine up in
Lake Orlando, whatever.
Yeah, St. Cloud area, Orlando. But anywho, it's
we didn't have it. So yeah, when Roseanne brought out the jacket and was like, "Kill this, Deep State Bull," yeah, we were there and we were screaming, "Magador!" Oh man, it was
row 8. I was seat 8, and we saw Juan go up and tell Roseanne she didn't finish her job. She had to introduce Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
And that was another time I ran into Juan because I'm not really the cigarette smoker, but for some odd reason, I wanted a cigarette. Erin didn't want one. She's, So anyway, I went out under the bleachers. I'm hanging out, smoking a cigarette, and then here comes Don Julio surrounded by Secret Service. And I'm like, Don, good to see you. And he says hi. And then right behind him, this guy's walking, and it took me a second to realize who the heck it was, but it was Juan. And I'm like, Juanito, love you, bro.
And Jen.
And I didn't see her then. And he must have turned around because I was wearing Gideon's Army, the original Gideon's Army shirt. So he yelled back, "Gideons!" And I kept on walking through the crowd. And then I noticed the lady trailing behind him. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that's Jen,
Lady,
but it just happened so quick, man. It was like you're gone, But that was a cool friggin' experience, and just God wanted me to have a cigarette, right?
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. Adam, you had something to say there a while ago? What were you going to say?
Yeah, I kind of forgot, but cigarettes equals 107.
Oh, no way.
Also, nature, Kyle said that thing, he just said nature, and it made me think of God, like G-O-D, go outdoors.
Like it.
Nice.
And Magador, if you do Magador, like MAGA and then DOOR, like Magador, that equals 74. Jesus, 74.
Nice.
There's the man with the numbers. All right, let's do some of these deltas. Or is there anything else in diggers we need to hit?
No, that's good, Kyle. Yeah, bring up those deltas, brother.
Yeah,
There's some good ones. Good ones today.
19 deltas.
Oh, last one. Another 122. Michael Flynn, 122.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
So this one we didn't get a chance to show this since we left. Though Jan 15, the day of the delta on Q Alert specifically, there's actually no deltas on January 15th, but there's 4 Q drops with Jan 15th in it. So there's Jan 5th. Where's 15th? Right here. Coincidence, January 15th. And then so there's 4 other drops with that. So we didn't get to cover that. I just want to highlight that right here. Why did Pelosi then hold impeachment articles until January 15th? So that's all the dates in regards to. That was also their plan to basically make COVID happen, because right here you go, January 15th, the exact day that impeachment articles were transferred to the Senate. And then January 15th, the first COVID case in the United States up there right in Bill Gates' backyard on the same exact day. And Q helps us understand that is super important, because that was all planned to basically hamstring Donald Trump until they could get to the 2020 election to steal it, right? So everything they've done, first it was a Russia gate. That was their, insurance policies. After, if Trump won the election, they do the Spygate, Russiagate thing. That also Mueller special counsel that gave them opportunity to drum up lots of donations and get people to vote in the midterms. But the Republicans gained seat in the Senate. Democrats run the House, but how would they gain seats in the House but not the Senate? That's kind of thing they just subtly pass on by. If you're paying attention, the White Hat's been in control a while. And they've been stealing elections, because Executive Order 13848, that's the election one. That was September 12th, 2018, prior to those midterms. So this we've been tracking these guys for a really long time. And I lost track where I was going with that. So there we are. Anyways, what was I talking about?
They had to institute, those EOs. And then they, in 2019, Trump penned his version of the MCM. So the Manual for Court Martial is something that is written by every president. And the 2019 revision contains situations and conditions where civilians can now be held for military tribunals. So nice, interesting wrinkle in the situation.
Yep.
Enemy combatants. That's right.
Enemy combatants. And I look back at the post, and basically it was about, again, hamstringing Trump for his whole term, right? So it was the Mueller investigation, Spygate. When that fell flat, that was 2019. Then all of a sudden, the impeachment comes, the false impeachment for the Ukraine thing, basically asking if there was corruption, which the guy, Joe Biden openly admits right on camera. And then they, again, held that impeachment process until COVID is starting to strike. So he's like hamstring throughout the way. He's under investigation for impeachment. That's going through all that stuff. You got government lockdowns. And then all of a sudden we go into COVID, right? And then when COVID started slowing down, then they do the George Floyd psyop. And then they keep, the fraud going with the COVID thing, just so they can have mail-in ballots, because the mail-in ballots could skirt the NSA's technology. And this is what the big scam was. And Trump had so much support in 2020. The electronic votes, I mentioned this, they were switching the votes that Trump was winning by so much that they had, in some precincts, there was more votes than even voters, right? Or people like they had. So they had to bring in these fake ballots for the audit to basically cover the votes they said that they actually had. That's why there was multiple weeks of, we'll have to wait weeks because these assholes are sending in ballots to try to catch up with the fucking numbers. That's why you have elections on one fucking day. Are we out of our mind? One last example on that. Again, India had 640 million voters. India has over 1 billion plus population. Actually, 640 million voters. America's got like 300 million people, but only not even half that vote in an election. Maybe barely. And It took India 1 day with paper ballots. Of course, the whole country's like gets in on this. This is a national holiday thing. It's really important. It's the most important thing to your freaking sovereignty, your country is your fucking elections. So everyone has a role to play. They do paper ballots, the days off, and they did 640 million votes in 1 day. In 2024 election, California, our election was November, which one was it? 5th this time. November 5th. California was still counting votes, guys, into December. Into December of 2025, California was still counting votes, and we're supposedly a first world country. It's beyond absurd. And we're done with it. We're done with these fucking rules, right? Voter ID, 1 day voting, paper ballots, and how else let's get a holiday too, Trumpy. Throw that holiday.
And that 17-page EO on handcountroadshow.org. It literally lists, all the ways that we can easily get this done and before midterms and not hardly spend a fraction of what we spent on these machines, and we can do this. It can be done. And going to your local election officials, your local election boards, your local county, city council meetings, and letting them know about this information that's coming out, the information you guys are privy to, the Patrick Burns stuff, the Laura Logan interviews, all these truths that are finally coming out, right? Let them know about it, because that way you're putting them on notice. You're acting in honor. So,
hey, Cappy,
we the people, right? We the people.
Does that 17-page thing you were just talking about, does the Trump administration have that in their hands right now?
Well, yes, from my understanding, a version of that has been sitting on Trump's desk for at least 2 months, and the holdout is like the machines. There's so many people that want a machine here or a machine there, and he's telling them no machines. But from what I understand, it's going to come out at the perfect time and when God, divines it. But, when that thing comes out, that's what I think is going to literally flip everybody on their freaking head.
Ties to Venezuela and Machado and all that because, they were supposed to free Maduro before and it was supposed to happen, but the weather started. So then they had a delay and now wasn't the time. And it's got to be the perfect timing because number one goal, no casualties of, Americans and all those people. Those that decide to make their line in the sand and want to fight for evil and greed, then yes, your life might have to come up. But those that, American civilians, Canadian civilians, the global civilians, the true people of the world, less casualties.
And what we're finding out our military is capable of when they're finding out that 20 people can come on the ground and literally immobilize 100. And them have no capability of fighting back. So 0 casualties. Just from what I understand, unheard of technology was used. So, and that has to go across the board. Like I said, and those people that are spun up by the media and programmed, a lot of these people are just, they're vested. Man, they took the jab. This story has to be true. Their version has to be true.
They're not going to die a sudden death.
They've lost loved ones.
Rapid cancer.
And they're seeing these things, so they're lashing out because they had to be right. So have grace. That's all I can say is have grace.
Yeah, we're being refined, right? Put through the crucible, and it's like the biblical passages again. We have to have that ego death or whatever. And many truth seekers had it because we've had it as from a while back, awakening up, but then also now the delay. But on the flip side, everything's getting pushed to the precipice for sure. Again, and I've kind of encountered that because I've always had good friends on either side and try to bridge that gap. And I've, shared my beliefs for a while now, of course, but not so, I start planting seeds, guys know I am. But I had an incident this summer in Alaska where a friend of mine kind of freaked out randomly. And I was like, I just intuitively knew. I was like, he's nervous that I'm right about everything. And then, so that's just important to be mindful of. That's like he's saying, grace, to have compassion and patience. I know we've had a ton of that, but we'll continue to extend that. If you're really the awakened one and done the healing, try to be that bridge. There's always that center line. And again, that was interacted with the public kind of during the Christmas holidays and saw the same thing. They wanted the people that were still anti-Trump. Of course, that's the first thing they bring up. We weren't going to bring it up, but because they're so stirred up, they don't know what to think. And then that's that, again, that tribalism or social, they want validation. Well, you think this is bad too, right? And every single person was against them. Now they're having this shock. And that's why it's important we help amplify other small channels like us, the message, guys, because we're the grassroots. That the media is not going to fucking do it. The revolution will not be televised. We've been told this shit.
You are the news now. You guys are the news now.
Flynn told us.
Right?
Shows how fake and gay they are. And I wanted to do that for a while, several articles, and just how extreme. And this is why we became divided, because it's this extreme, views on every single side. And that was by design. So also encourage yourselves, be mindful of your own confirmation bias, right? Many of us, and I get it. It's hard to keep track of everything, fact check stuff, but plenty of people in the Q movement will see a post that, fits what they believe, and boom, immediately they send it off. They don't do no fact checking. They don't know anything. And there's such easy psyops to run on the truth seekers movement with that kind of stuff, guys, because the cabal knows when shit's about to come out. So they're going to put those baits out there, and you send this shit and it's not true, or you do date fag over with this confidence, it's for sure going to happen. And then you don't, then you actually lose credibility with your friends and family that we want to be building that credibility with, so always just be mindful in your decodes, don't guess a date, say, hey, maybe this is going to happen next. Right. And ask questions, and, everyone's got to use every tactic. Sometimes we're gas them up. Fuck it. We've been nice too long. And, we're trying everything. But we're winning the war easily. I mean, not easily, but clearly. It's been a hell of a battle, but you guys can see the tide turns. Everybody's on Trump's side, and he's highlighted that for us. His primary mission to destroy the fake news. That's why he labeled fake news over and over and over again. And we get that confirmation. He says 97% of the articles on all the fake news is negative to me, yet I won by a landslide. That means they have no credibility left. And guess what? USA is getting removed. You've seen these other media closing down now because they've been propped up artificially with these government funding shit too, among other things. So it's all burning down. So get excited, guys. We've been talking about this a while. Yep.
Yeah, well said. I got one question for Cappy and Aaron too in regards to the voting machines. Remember some time ago, I think it was about 4 months ago, maybe 5 months now. It was midsummerish. There was that fellow that bought the machines. Do you guys have any research, anything on that? Who bought them? Was it the white hats that finally?
Liberty Inc. And I cannot quote the name, but Joe Altman knows. So does Mark Cook. So does Professor Clements. The same owner that Liberty Vote turned into is the guy from Known Inc., which is the cast vote or poll books. Poll books.
The digital poll books. So that's how they're manipulating, the elections. They have the tabulators that can make the election turn out whatever way they want there. And then they have these digital poll books where, we cleaned up the voter rolls. We took out 140,000 dead people or whatever.
But then they pop up a month later
and
back on the rolls.
Yeah, one strike of the key and they're back on the rolls. So they're manipulating the bull, right? Yeah. So that's how they manipulate both sides of the friggin' system. That's why no machines need to be. We need to re-register to vote, right? And I don't think anybody will have a problem with that. I mean, if it secures our elections, so.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting to lead in. This is, again, something we can't control, but we've talked about GSARA and ESARA for a long time with all the people, too. And Adam was kind of alluding, it can't happen in July because the midterms, we never know. But part of NESARA, GSARA is all new elections in 120 days, guys. So think about a plan, too. How can we get everybody on the same page is if everything's in fraud vitiates all. So that means all the contracts are void. If fraud was exposed, it means we'd have to have all new elections. And if all these assholes are fucking corrupt anyways, Republican, Democrat, or whatever the fucking title they want to call
70%. 70%.
Then let's do a whole new election, and that would make everyone happy, especially if it's secure and fast. So, it seems like we might be leaning to that. I mean,
his name, the one that bought out Dominion Liberty Vote, which Mike Lindell's case is like in limbo that they're not following through. Where'd all the court cases go that Dominion have? But his name's Scott Leindecker. And Known Inc. is the poll books, and it's all connected. Sequoia. I mean, they just changed their name. Oh, the people will believe it. Liberty Vote. Oh, it sounds good. No machines.
Just like the trusted build, Trusted. Oh, good Lord. I
Well,
mean,
I've always felt that they weren't going to announce Nasara, so maybe there, sometimes you have to show the people. It says in the Q post, and so there's a lot of things that have to be shown. That we had to be shown through Doge that there was fraud in so many different areas. It's not just in election, but I feel like all of Trump's executive orders are pointing towards Nasara. So whether or not it's officially said, or if it's some way that, because how would you explain to most of the people, like you're going to have some guy going up there and be like, okay, we're here and we're going to announce Nasara. I don't think
Trump Sara, because Nasara just saw all
the done row. Maybe he will bring that in, but whatever, I feel that it's happening. It's happening right now. It's happening.
and what about you guys follow Space Shot at all? Just you guys follow.
Shot.
You know what he talks about when he talks about using your Social Security card, the number on the back, to find out what bank you have or what bank you're with, and then using that bank as the routing number and your Social Security number as the account number, and you can pay your bills that way. Has anybody tried that here?
It doesn't work. No, I don't think it works yet.
It worked once.
Amazon, it worked.
It
worked for him with Amazon. Oh, you're rubber banding. I can't hear you. Or me, I'm rubber banding. I think I'm rubber banding.
Is there? Okay, I can hear you now. It might have been you guys for a second.
I think Andrea and Q Livia tried it, so talk to them.
But
I think that something will happen where it's all going to happen to us.
Well, I would maybe go on to the opposite side of that is you have a system that needs to be running parallel to the other one. You're not going to just switch it without running it before it is us that's lagging. So let me hop back right back.
And have you guys heard about China? China has a population drop. You know how they would limited you to one child per family, and some people had to be in secret and give their children up or however they did. But anyhow, China's population, you see these cities that were built. Well, they're not there because they did depopulation before here. They're like a test run. We saw those not 5G towers or whatever that dropped people down during 2020.
And what year did they go to single child only? I remember it for decades at least.
Right. And now I keep seeing depopulation of China is causing a problem. One child, and and America too.
You muted Mike?
Yep.
No, there you go.
We're just rebooting, so hold up a second. I think we just got Tim to come back, so give me a second. Let me put him back in. There's Tim. Hi, Tim.
America's population, depopulation, like Andrew said, the Georgia Guidestones. What was on the top of that? Or maybe it was you, Kyle. But what was on the top of that? They wanted 500 million people globally or whatever. I mean, they have given us birth control. They have mind fucked us every which way not to have children through money, through greed, through, it's hard. And my hat's off to those people that could have so many children, because that's the way it used to be. No birth control, right?
Right. I think that think about this, the children that are going to be born like in the next, let's say, decade, what a chance they're going to have. We're going to be having, let's just say it's just no fluoride, no colorant in your food, and add the no injections, the even just a lesson of what they have right now from the vaccinations. And then if we change the education for kids too, parents start educating their kids and taking control of that, we're going to have an amazing renaissance, I think, of humanity, and beautiful human beings are going to be born, and we're going to be a part of that. We're a part of that. And then you add on too, of all the work that we're doing here, it's all worthwhile.
Yeah, Q says we're going to show you a brave new world. I keep getting bounced out, Melzie. That was the third time I got kicked out, so I don't know what's going on today.
Yeah, we're having.
Well, okay, another little tidbit, if I may. The same day John F. Kennedy was killed, Huxley who wrote A Brave New World, was killed as well or died, and so did C.S. Lewis, who wrote what, Alice in Wonderland?
Yep.
And who are we getting feedback from? Somebody's
Is that
feedback.
us?
I think that one might be you, Tim, actually a little bit. I don't know why it started with you. Is your volume kind of loud, Tim?
No, not at all. But
maybe-
I don't know. I think I'm gonna hop out anyway. I gotta take care of dinner. But nice
All right.
seeing you, Cappy, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you, guys.
everybody else.
Yeah,
Love,
yeah.
love,
You
love.
too, brother. Good hanging out with you guys. And I think it's about time for us to bounce. We're gonna go hang out with our little daughter for a little bit before she has to do what she's got to do.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Let's see here.
Much love to you guys, man. Good to hang out with you guys. Good to spitball with stuff. Run stuff by you.
Yeah.
Get the pulse of
And keep Tina Peters in your prayers, y'all.
Yes.
You know what?
That bummed me out, man, when I heard that. I was like a little bummed out there for
We can email the White House right now. whitehouse.gov/contact.
Let's pull that up just a second. Hold on. I think we have it here.
Because so many unjust things have happened to Tina.
Yeah.
And elderly abuse. I mean, isn't that a charge too?
That's a felony. It's an automatic felony, a battery on a elderly person. So I don't understand.
And she was attacked from behind while she was in a closet.
Yeah, and they know that that's a blind spot. They knew that,
Well,
I mean,
it might be time for, things to happen, and let's just pray for her safety and,
amen.
For the right things to be done for her protection.
Hey, Mel, you want to lead us out in a prayer? Say a little prayer for her?
Sure. Father God, we just thank you for this time that we get to share every day together, and for the love that we have from, the people that we know here to all the people that are listening to us throughout the waves of the radio waves or quantum waves or whatever that is. But we thank you for this unity that we've created with each other, and just studying these Q posts have brought us together. And we pray for Tina Peters and for her protection, and that President Trump would hear our cry, and that the right thing would be done. And we pray for the safety of those that may go out and save her. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Hallelujah, you guys. All right, you guys have an amazing day. It was awesome hanging out with you guys.
Love, love, love. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Check our schedule, y'all. We're going to be back. Try to have Brian and Jamie. Thank you, Aaron, for all you shared. We got to see that MAGA hat face a little bit. They're already out of here. Thank you guys so much. We're going to close out with a little ANON. Justice is served. Any last words from you, Mel?
No.
Thank you, guys. Love, love, love. Sorry about the connections and stuff, but we'll get through it. Hang on. We'll see you soon.
We have to get the right people. It's all about the people. So when I first came here, I was only in Washington 17 times in my life. All of a sudden, I'm president. And I really knew nobody. I relied on people. Some were good, some were rhinos, some gave us some bad advice. And generally speaking, we had very good people. But we had some that we have to do better. Attorney General, we have to get a great Attorney General. So we will work with a lot of people to get the right people in. The difference is I now know sort of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not having to be relying on people that I didn't know very well and listen to their recommendations. And I think we're going to have phenomenal people. I know the people. I know the good ones, the bad ones, the weak ones, the strong ones. I think we're going to have great people.
We're friends with Kash Patel. He was on the show just before you, and that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Well, Kash is fantastic.
Yeah,
he's an example of a good one.
I told you when I got this job that we would crush violent crime, that we would take the fight to anyone who wishes to do harm to our way of life and to hurt our citizenry. This mission must be 24/7, 365 from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. But beyond that, we must go extraterritorially, like I've just told you about. We must go down to the furthest reaches of the planet to make sure that we bring you the justice that you have voted for.
What's happening is the largest RICO case in history. Everything's being done by the book, including the Law of War Manual. Corrupt people in the United United States aren't the only targets. The cabal's network worldwide. Right now we're in the exposure phase. Everything has to be shown to the people, and patriots need to clean house. Things aren't going to happen overnight. We have to go through the process. That way when the dominoes start falling, we'll have a way out. No technicalities, no loopholes, and no one to pay off. Trump has had 9 years to figure out who patriots are, and who he wanted on his team. Those are the people he put into position. Just because you can't see what's happening in the background, doesn't mean nothing is happening.
The wheels of justice turn slowly. In fact, obviously I have a maniacal sense of urgency. So to me, when I see that terrible fraud has happened, I'm like, why haven't we arrested somebody? But as the saying goes, the wheels of justice turn slowly but surely.
Let this be a warning. You can run, but you cannot hide. Justice is coming.
America, there's a lot of moving parts that are coming together nicely here to save our republic. And the work that President Trump and his people are doing with executive authority needs a clear field to run through this year. Some things that I can't even talk about, but let me just reassure you that Freedom Caucus level conservatives like me are in full support of the work that President Trump is doing. All things moving forward according to plan. We've overcome every obstacle. This is a new deal rolling right now, and the president needs our full support, and he's going to get it. So I'll keep you posted, but we have things well in hand, and our country is on the verge of really beautiful growth and prosperity. Hang in there, America. We're going to be okay. God bless you one and all, from sea to shining sea. I am just so honored to serve you. Oh.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The American populace is facing an unconventional warfare scenario. This is information warfare.
Where we go one, we go all. Join the Qschqql journey through the